women, this is what women want. Women want the advice to help them to ensure that their husband will be faithful.
Yes.
They
Yeah.
want they want the key to having a husband that won't cheat. Is there something you can
Mm,
tell me
yeah.
for me to make sure that my husband will remain faithful?
Yes.
That answer is in layers. Because guess
Yes.
what? That husband got some issues. That
Mm,
husband got some rejection issues, identity issues,
mm-hmm.
fathering issues, mothering issues, and he's trying to find out who he is. And when
Yes.
you are bickering and when you are putting pressure and when you don't take the time out to talk and communicate and get to know him, I can't give you no secret remedy that's going to keep him faithful, but you're not doing due diligence to find out who you're married to.
Man Talk Monday is Man Talk Monday. Woo! Let's get to the topic of the discussion and hit the issues you typically find reluctant. Remove the facade to fill the gap with some substance. We undermining problems, expecting to overcome it. Please hold the applause. We doing it for the cause. People follow culture before they follow the laws. We rather face the friction and not attempt it at all. Persistence will find solutions once our contentment dissolves. There's a hard pill to swallow for anyone breathing, both for folks who stay woke and those who be dreaming. We ain't slaves, yet we still ain't experienced freedom. What we need is the keys to access the kingdom. We're all in this fallen world trying to stay intact. I'm just a beggar, point you out to where the bread is at. So follow the breadcrumbs like Hansel and Gretel. Thank Yogi Bear and the thought engineer for that on Man Talk Monday. It's Man Talk Monday.
What's going on, good people? Welcome to Man Talk Mondays. It's your boy, Derek the Thought Engineer. Y'all know who this man is next to me, John. Comedian John Yogi. Next
What
to me.
up? What up? What it do, good people?
Listen. We are back with our series, Shattered Bonds.
Bonds with a Bonds.
Yes, Shattered Bonds. Unveiling the impact of infidelity on family dynamics. Now, we've gone through two great episodes.
Oh my
We
God.
talked about the other woman / side chick, right? We got some great insight from the therapist, Miss Genesis Martin, who was here.
Outstanding.
And then we came right behind it, getting the wife's point of view, her perspective,
Outstanding.
right? So we going all the way through. We want to touch everybody involved. So tonight, we're talking about the husband. We're talking about the husband, the boyfriend, the guy.
The guy who has the side, and the main course.
So we're talking about tonight, conflicted hearts, exploring the mind of the unfaithful partner.
That title in itself, man.
I know, man.
title.
We about to get into it, man. We are about to get into it. But before we get into it, let them know what they need to do, man. Let them know what they need to do.
You need to like, share, and subscribe. And also, you need to go to our what's the name of the page? I can't remember. Our TikTok page. And
Follow us, yeah.
And follow us on TikTok. I was surprised you came to me. I wasn't thinking about it.
Be ready.
Yeah,
Be ready. You never know.
Remember, guys, like, share, and subscribe because we got some things that we're trying to do. We're trying to be heard by the masses, and the only way we can do that is we need your help. So please like, share, and subscribe, and also like us and follow us on TikTok.
Yep.
All right.
Appreciate the love, appreciate the follows, shares, everything. We're going to hop into this right now. Joining us tonight for this conversation. See, because I know guys, they don't necessarily do therapists like that.
No.
But if you got you a good man to God,
A good
to
minstrel.
talk, a good
minstrel.
a good man to God to talk to. Men typically will talk to their pastors, right? So we decided to bring on this great pastor, apostle. He's a pastor, he's a counselor, he's an entrepreneur, he does all kinds of great things, but he's going to join us tonight for this conversation. Joining us tonight, we got Apostle Mike Horne.
Friend of the show.
Oh, absolutely.
Good friend of mine. Been knowing Mike since since we were knee-high to a grasshopper.
Welcome, man. Thank you for joining us tonight. How you feeling?
I'm feeling good. It is a blessing to be on Men Talk Mondays. I'm excited about sharing some information.
All right. Good deal.
All right.
Good deal. We ready to throw some stuff your way so you can talk to us. So you heard what the series is about, what we've been talking about with this series. We've been talking about really infidelity and the impact. How we got here. I made a statement on one of our shows recently about my mom, and I looked at the situation with my mom and realized she basically was the other woman, you know. And I put the video out, and we got a lot of people in the comments, and especially there was a lot of people who felt where I was coming from. They could relate. So we said, let's just see how everybody feels. How is everybody impacted? So we talked about the other woman. We talked about the wife. Now we're talking about the husband. So in your experience, have you counseled a lot of guys as it pertains to infidelity and the challenges men have with staying faithful?
Yes, I have. I've been pastoring and been a youth pastor, over 20 years. So I've had many encounters with men in the body of Christ and our local assembly that have dealt with infidelity and the drama, the trauma, and the challenges of recovering and making a decision to stay in the marriage, because infidelity, the act of it is just the icing, but there's a foundation and there's layers of things that have led up to the infidelity. In most cases, in a lot of cases, the marriage had been suffering for years. There have been years of neglect, years of unfulfillment, and then the opportunity presented itself. And so in some cases, the marriage was already failing, and infidelity was just the icing on the cake.
So you're saying infidelity was more of a symptom to a problem, or was it more the problem?
It wasn't the symptom. It was a result of the
yes. Yeah,
a result of the symptom. Got you.
So, for instance, if a man was in a relationship, and I say this all the time, if one of the spouses are deprived emotionally, they're vulnerable. And so there could be emotional deprivation. There could be some things lacking. There could be some trauma from a childhood, and those issues are not dealt with in the marriage, and the spouse may not even know how to deal with it. So those particular issues, they go undealt with, and all of a sudden they encounter somebody that brings them fulfillment in an area where there's deprivation. And there you go. It happens.
Come on, daddy. Come on, daddy.
Doesn't mean that particular person didn't love their spouse, because in some cases I've seen married folk that are working out their problems and their issues get caught up in a mistake because they encountered or met someone that brought fulfillment into an area of neglect. And the other spouse, in some cases, didn't even know that they were neglecting them in that particular area. And so the lack of communication was the foundation to outside fulfillment.
You know, Pastor Mike, that's one of the things, because I think everybody tries to simplify what this is all about. Everybody says, oh, they just should have did this, they just should have did that. But most of the time, it's a lot more to it. I guess I just want to say we do a great job of oversimplifying it when it's a lot more layers to it. I believe is that basically. That's
but I think to that point, simple doesn't always equal easy though.
Right.
And the solution may be simple. Talk to your wife, but man.
Yeah, after somebody else is in your ear and they got your attention, it's hard to kind of turn that thing off. Yeah,
yes,
they got your attention.
Just because you diagnose the problem, that doesn't mean that you automatically have a symptom or a solution. When you diagnose the problem, it may not be in the spouse to bring healing to that particular area, because that may not be that spouse expertise to bring healing in an emotional area, especially if she's dealing with it too. So you need outsource. You need to go to a counselor, because in most cases, both spouses need some counseling to come together to help each other.
Monique says, yes, I agree. A result of continuous issues within the marriage. Mm-hmm. Right. So people are agreeing with you about it's a result. But do you see a common thing with the guys you talk to? Is there a common thing? Is that the common thing among the guys you talk to who've committed infidelities? Is it the neglect?
No, it's a broad range.
Okay.
You can talk to some men, and because you're looking for the trigger, right? You're looking for something that leads up to it. And in some cases, it's just lust. And some cases,
okay.
Wow.
Yeah, with men.
I was just hoping that it was more than that.
It is in a lot of cases. So you got to put it into categories. You got people that are happy in their marriage, but they cheat. And you got some people that are not happy, but they're looking to cheat. And then you have some people, it's a habitual pattern. You know what I'm saying? It's a habitual pattern. So you got to, from my experience, you got to categorize the people, because you could be talking to a man that's been faithful for 20 years and he slipped up and fell. And you can't put him into the category with somebody that's just out there and they just got caught. So you got to deal with they hurt differently. The person that's been out there, they mad because they got caught. The person that's been faithful for 20 years, he really wants to be forgiven, and he really wants an opportunity to prove himself, not only to his wife, but his family and those people that he let down. So you got to deal with the men according to their situation.
So do you find more of the lustful guys or more of the guy who was trying to stay the course and he got off?
Wait, it's one more. Or do you find the guy that's dealing with the woman who won't be quiet, who won't clean up, who won't give no peace? Because I know she in here somewhere. Just because we hadn't brought her forward don't mean she's not in here, because she's in here somewhere. Go ahead, Pastor Mike. Go ahead.
Well, I guess I'll deal with Derek's first. Derek, now repeat what you said.
I said, do you find more? Is it more of guys who it's a lust issue, or more of guys who were trying to stay the course and they got off course? Which one do you find more of?
Well, now you got to put lust in perspective. The Bible said, "Blessed is the man that endureth temptation," not conquer temptation, not win over temptation, but endure temptation. So we all, as men, we have to be able to endure temptation when we see other women. All right.
Yeah.
So with that being the case, we're all exposed to lust. It's how we process it, and it's how we deal with it. All right. So in my case, I get it all. I get some men, they caught up in the flesh.
Yeah.
In today's society, pornography is at your fingertip, right? You cut your phone on, it's there.
Yeah.
It's not like in the old days you had to go buy a magazine or find a magazine. Now you can cut your phone on and go in your bathroom and take care of your business. All right.
Yeah.
You can love on yourself.
Love on yourself.
In some ways, guys, let's be real. We gotta identify and define the fullness of infidelity in the time we living in, because some people can be in infidelity through a chat, through messaging, through text, through pornography, masturbating with another woman or another man on your mind.
Not another man. Come on.
Yeah,
okay, woo.
What infidelity is, you know what I'm saying? Now, in most cases, all of those things was happening before the act, before they found someone.
Oh, so the act is just the result.
The imagination.
Yes,
right?
yes, okay.
You get what I'm saying? So we got to define infidelity, because some people only could be infidelity right now. Because when we look at the Bible's definition, don't even look. If you look at it, it's already in your what? It's already in your heart.
Right.
So in most cases, before people do the act of infidelity, they have already been entertaining it in some way or another.
Because
so that goes to a more social problem too.
When you think about that, I get what you're saying. So it's kind of like you're prepping yourself for a bigger fall with entertaining the pornography, entertaining the chats and all the little secret stuff, because it says the flesh is never satisfied. So you get to a point where that doesn't do it anymore. And so you keep thrill seeking, just keep seeking thrills. And I need a one up to this one. And all of a sudden, like you say, opportunity presents itself. And now you caught up.
Exactly.
Now you caught up.
Exactly. So that's deeper than what we realize. And that's a pattern that unfortunately many are on the course to fulfill unless there's some discipline that happens in their life. Amen.
Now you talk about that discipline. That's a tough one. I don't know if men are really, if that's something that's really driven home for us, growing up, the discipline as it pertains to being in relationships, being in marriages and stuff. I don't know if that's because as a little boy, most guys are telling you, oh man, get all the women you can and all this kind of stuff. Nobody's drilling home. Hey man, stay with one woman. That's not. And so all of a sudden now you in a marriage and the expectation is to turn it off.
Yes. Well, for her and you.
Right. For her and you, but it's not as simple to turn off. Once you've been fed that your whole life, now all of a sudden.
Well, if you've been undisciplined, if you have been allowing your flesh to be undisciplined during the whole dating process of your life, when you get married, it's going to be the most difficult thing is all of a sudden ring that thing in and say, I'm just going to be with one person, because you've been loosey goosey all your life. And I just think we set ourselves up for a fall when we don't have some type of self-control of our bodies and our minds while we're dating people, man. If you're just out there hitting it and quitting it, when you get married, what changes? What's going to change? The ring is not going to change the way you've been handling yourself.
Yeah.
And vows are not going to be enough to make you keep your pants up.
Boy.
Because somebody whispering your ear just like they did them vows will make your pants come straight down. I'm saying.
I don't know how deep y'all want to go tonight. We can approach it from a cultural perspective and build it back up. I think one of the things we got to realize is the current structure that we are in is not working. The marriage rate is 53% divorce, and when they get remarried, is 65%. 65% of the people that remarry get divorced again.
Wow.
A lot of things are just simply not working in this society to keep marriages together. And there's a lot of reasons for that. And we have to really go back into history and look at the construct of marriage, relationship, and fulfillment. In this present time in marriages, what are we requiring of our spouse? We're requiring them to be a great lover. We're requiring them to listen, to be a confidant. We're requiring them to answer all of our problems. We're walking down the aisle saying, I do, like that's the solution that we needed for life. So now we are in a situation in which we're depending on one person, a spouse, to bring all of this fulfillment when they're broken themselves.
Wow.
Now,
yeah.
Well, so you're gonna have to breathe. Can you breathe back? Can you stop? Just hold on.
He just tapped into something because I found out that the porn industry was actually created for men who weren't having sex.
And
it was the men that were struggling to get women. That's who the industry was created for. So if you get a man that's sex deprived, he typically goes that route because that's what it was created for. It wasn't created for men who, you know what I'm saying, don't have problems getting sexual partners. It was created for men who struggle with that. And a man in a marriage, if he's deprived physically, fits into that category. So it makes sense that a man that's undisciplined and not really handling himself, he would go that route and start entertaining porn.
Well, so like I was saying, with things are currently not working. So let's diagnose some things real quick. When we look at history, and we look at communitalism and what the community brought to the marriage. Say, for instance, if you were deprived with neglect or certain issues, then there were male figures or female figures in the community that gave you fulfillment and completion in those areas so that you didn't have to run to the spouse for everything. All right. Now, of course, sexually, you depended on that spouse, but there were some things that you were dealing with in life that you didn't replace. You didn't place that responsibility on that spouse, especially if that's not their area. So in the past, it was a community of people that was helping keeping a marriage together.
Yes.
So we have that construct nowadays. We have this unrealistic thing in which we feel like our spouse should understand our hard day. We didn't have no everything. And so now we're disappointed and we're not fulfilled and we're shutting down in these marriages, and the enemy is sending people that's going to fulfill you in the area where you are neglected.
See, we're missing grandma and papa's.
Yes.
We missing them because grandma would tell you, girl, you go in there, you take that boy in there, you get up in them covers, and you make some good love to that boy, and that boy, right? A boy, you go. Dude, this is funny, but this is so true because we don't have this anymore. Right. So now we're left to our own devices of young people, and because the culture now for women is get the dude with the bag. Get the dude with the bag, and that'll take care of everything else. And that don't take care of nothing else. Because once you get the bag, you got to deal with the guy and whatever his hangups are, and he got to deal with yours. And we spend so much time not dealing with that part of it on the front end to where when we're in the marriage, now you unpacking, you're like, whoa, where did all that come from? Right. You must have brought those bags in through the back door because you didn't bring them in through the front. I didn't see all that. Where did that come from?
Now listen to this. Isn't it something that a lot of side chicks are going to their grandmothers and mothers for them to teach them how to cook? Why is that?
Oh wow!
Oh wow!
Leave that alone.
Oh wow! Let me get this up. Let me get this question. It says, would it be fair to say that people settle for a mate even when they know they aren't ready for marriage?
Can I answer?
Go ahead.
Because nobody wants to be by themselves, even when they know they are a mess themselves. I would rather be a mess with somebody than be a mess by myself where I have just me to deal with. Yeah. I want to be with somebody else. I want somebody to lay next to that I can argue with. More importantly, my flesh is talking to me. I need somebody throwing me off the headboard at night, so at least I feel whole in that particular way if I'm not in the rest of the way.
Yeah. And one of the other problems is it's easier to find other people when you already got somebody.
Kind of like a job, right?
Kind of like a job.
Yes.
Say the best time to find a job is when you already got one.
Yes.
And I heard this woman say this one time, that women go for men who are already in committed relationships because they have proven that they have a level of commitment where they can commit to somebody. It's like, it's kind of counterintuitive, but I've heard that certain women go for men like that because they've shown that they can be in a relationship and everything like that. Nobody wants somebody nobody else wants, basically, or has.
That is true. And that's why a marriage ring is not a deterrent anymore. Women see that ring on that finger, that's like, oh yeah, he got the package. And so a lot of people are not fulfilled within themselves, and they're looking for fulfillment from somebody else. This is how I tell single women, and it's not easy because a lot of them, like you said, John, they're dealing with that lonely spirit.
Yeah.
Feel like they got to have somebody to lay down with. But I tell them to find fulfillment in their purpose, make some money, get focused on their goals. And how it works is when you're focused on your goals, you go to another level in life. At that level, you're going to attract what's going to help you go to the next level. So many times the women want to get trash and drag trash along with them on all the way to the top.
Wait a minute.
Wait till you get to the top and get your reward.
I want you to stop.
He said, wait till you get to the top and get your reward.
I want to give my commercial, and then I want you to come back and say that one more time, right? So remember, guys, like, share, and subscribe. We have some special things that we're trying to do. And also like and follow us on TikTok, guys. Remember, like, share, and subscribe. And now we're getting back to conflicted hearts, exploring the mind of the unfaithful partner. Back to you, Pastor Mike.
Yeah, so it's very important that you find fulfillment in yourself, focus on your priorities. And then once you, like say, for instance, if you're working at Walmart, all right, and you're looking for a spouse at Walmart, but you're going to school to get your master's in another field. Yes. Well, if you find somebody at Walmart, okay, that's the level that you was at in life. Yes. But if you get your degree and now you're working in an executive office, now you're reaching somebody and you're equally yoked. And sometimes, like I say, we get that lonely spirit and we want to grab anything and we're compromising and we find ourselves dragging them along instead of them helping us go or get to our purpose. So you gotta have some patience and fulfillment within yourself. And that's not easy when you look at society and all the temptations.
Oh, no, not easy at all. Dr. Selena says, what about grandpa? That's a saying. I know you have your wife, but make sure you've got something on the side.
Well, okay.
Hold on. First of all, that look like Pastor Sam Finsborough on there. What's that? Okay, go ahead.
One of the offspring. So yeah.
well, I think in that particular case, I think there are some things where the guy is getting misinformation from his family. But this is the thing too. As she said, I'm thinking about this. How does normally that culture in that particular family, the mom, the grandmother, aunts and uncles and everybody, there's always bickering, there's always fights, there's always issues and problems because that kind of mentality is being taught throughout the family. And so I want to say if you're getting that information, you need to seek some counseling from your pastor or somebody else because that's not the way it's supposed to be done. And listen, we can blame that on them if we want to, but ultimately we make our own decisions about how we want to run our marriages. Because listen, there are clues to what works and there are clues to failure. We just tend to follow the things that don't work, but there are clues to success just like there is failure, and the same goes for marriages.
Oh, you're right. So have you dealt with people that have that as a philosophy? Make sure you got a little something on the side.
Yes. Even my background, that was the case. with my father. And I know a lot of men that I've ministered to, that was the foundation, that was the culture of their family, to have someone on the side. And as a result, you had children from those particular
Yes.
families. That brings up a whole nother dynamic. I wish I had time. I could break down some things to help us understand that particular mentality from a cultural perspective, so that we can address
That's
it.
what we're here for. Break it down. That's what we're here for. Break it down. Let help
Are y'all
somebody
sure?
understand.
Y'all
Yeah.
sure? All
Come
right.
on, go in. Let's go in. We're pressing in now.
Okay, well, let's go back to who we were before we came over here in slave ships real quick. Let's look at from a village perspective, and we can look at it still in Africa, where the Africans had multiple wives. And in the process of having these multiple wives, they developed communitalism, in which everybody worked together. And it was so much embedded within the society and the mindset of the women, that if they had a female friend that was struggling, that had children, her children were bastardized because something happened to her husband, it was sisterly love to bring her into her house, not so that she could have sex with her husband, but so that she would have security and that her children would have a father. Now, if it came down to her wanting to be with her husband, that was a discussion that they would have, in which the community had to approve of. Because you see that now, you will see that in the Bible. So now here we come now in slave ships. And when the slave master told that man to step on the podium or on the platform or the auction blocks, there was a community behind him. It wasn't just him. There were multiple wives. There were multiple children. He took care of them. They operated in communitalism. They operated together. They understand, and they had a structure whereby everybody brought abilities and skills to the family. Okay, now the European culture says, okay, well, we gotta stop that. We gotta sell them here and sell them there and alleviate this particular situation. And now we're thrown into a European society in which it is illegal to live how they used to live. And so now they have to get accustomed to having one wife and being faithful and committed, like the Europeans was. But they weren't faithful and committed to us, because guess what? While they was telling the slaves you could only be with one woman, they was taking the women behind the shack and raping them, doing all atrocities to those particular women.
And not to mention breeding too.
Exactly.
They would breed the big buck with all of the female slaves. And I always wondered if that had an impact on us too. Go ahead.
All of that has an impact on us. Okay, now, so listen to this, right? The communitalism has gone from our people. The structure of us helping each other is gone. We didn't create guns in Africa. Everybody, if you had something, I had it. We didn't have to rob or steal. We had plenty of resources. It was the Europeans that had to make guns, had to create ships, because they were limited in their resources in Europe. So they had to steal from each other. So when they got us, they took us from a system of communitalism in which, as a community and as a village, we had everything. And now they put us in a European system. They divide us, the house Negroes against the field Negroes, the bucks getting all the women. And so now that has led to a society of us as African-American men. We don't know who we are. Many of us are without fathers. We've lost our identity scripturally and our history. We're lost. And many of us are being raised by women. So now the fathers are missing. They're institutionalized. They're in penitentiaries. They're killing each other, and they're absent. So in this present time that we're living in as African-American men, we have never been as messed up as we are now.
Wow.
And then on top of that, we're dealing with sickness. We're dealing with strokes. We're dealing with heart disease because we got the wrong diet. at some point, guys, we got to get back to the roots for survival, for us to make it in this time. Now we have a situation in which a man feels like he's a man when he has multiple women. That's against the construct of marriage. See, marriage used to be that it was protecting you financially.
Right.
You knew which child was which child.
Yeah.
Now we're in a situation in which so many are bastardized. In my hometown of Mississippi, you really don't find out who your in Louisiana too. You don't find out who your real daddy is until you're in your 30s.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, this person you dated was your cousin. This person you dated was your cousin.
Oh.
All this infidelity and all of this secrecy. So that construct, it has not been working. In order for us to get back to what's working, we got to find out who we are as a people. We've embraced this European philosophy and doctrine that's not working for us. We are in a place in which the white, I hate to, do this, but the other side got all the power, got all the authority, and now they're laying out terms that don't necessarily work for us as a people.
Yeah.
So now, now let's get back to the topic at hand. You're trying, women, this is what women want. Women want the advice to help them to ensure that their husband would be faithful.
Yes.
They want the key to having a husband that won't cheat. Is there something you can tell me for me to make sure that my husband will remain faithful?
Yes.
That answer is in layers. Because guess what? That husband got some issues. That husband got some rejection issues, identity issues, fathering issues, mothering issues, and he's trying to find out who he is. Yes. And when you are bickering and when you are putting pressure and when you don't take the time out to talk and communicate and get to know him, I can't give you no secret remedy that's going to keep him faithful, but you're not doing due diligence to find out who you're married to.
You are preaching.
Wait a minute, sir. Wait.
Take a breath. Take a breath. Take a breath. Take a breath. He didn't unload it. He didn't unload it. I hope y'all catching all this.
Oh my goodness.
I hope y'all catching all this. He has unloaded a whole history lesson and ran down a whole lot of issues that we having right now.
Let me say something. And he is absolutely right, because we don't take enough time at the beginning of the process. And now once we in it, what can you tell me to make him stay faithful, to keep him faithful? What if you had been talking to him rather than bedding him at the beginning of it like you were supposed to? Then we will be good. You would know more about him. Now he would tell you what it's going to take for him to stay faithful. He should be able to tell you that. This is what I need.
And let me tell you something. I dare anybody to debate me on this. Most women don't have a real sense or really want to know God beyond keeping that man faithful.
You are right.
We know we survey women, and God, what a man needs to have, or what they saw as important. God was not number one as to what they saw was important.
Yeah, let me tell you, this is the two prayers. God. Show me how to make him faithful, and God, show me when he's unfaithful.
Yes. Show me how to make him faithful and tell me when he's unfaithful.
Yes.
Boy, you are preaching up in here.
That's what they want to know. We're talking about infidelity. So now we in this construct of marriage, and it is what it is. Infidelity is very brutal because it's betrayal. Listen to me. Betrayal only works when you love somebody. It only works when you love somebody. And so betrayal, it corrodes the relationship. Because what it says is now I got to take away from you my feelings, my emotions, so that I won't experience this pain again.
Yes,
Mhm.
yes,
You
absolutely.
understand? So,
That's it.
so
That is it.
now, this is the problem why when they remarry, the percentage is higher when they divorce because they never got the healing necessary.
Right.
They
Right.
got carried
Right.
over into the next relationship because
Come on now.
betrayal is corrosive. Betrayal is like, you know how you touch battery acid on your clothes? It don't stay
Mhm.
that away. But when you wash those
Yeah,
clothes
over time, yes, it eats them up. Yes,
it's
Eats it away.
corrosive.
Right.
That's
Yes.
how
Right.
betrayal is. Betrayal is corrosive. It goes down into the current marriage, the next marriage, the next marriage. It just bleeds. You know, that's
Yeah.
a horrible thing. So the process of getting, you can be healed from it, but are you willing, like Kevin said, to trust the Lord for it? You can be
Yeah.
restored, but are you willing to really trust God in that restoration process? Because it's
Yeah.
going to require you being transparent. And most of us, we act like we're so hard and we got it going on, but really
Right.
we're dying on
Right.
the inside.
Exactly. We got
Who
Mika
is
says
that?
Mika said, who is telling Apostle how I'm praying? LOL. In all seriousness, God is number one. That survey was wrong. No, Mika, I am so serious.
No, we took that.
I am so serious. From the women that we looked
surveyed,
at, we surveyed. It appears that women's interest of God is primarily in keeping that man faithful.
As a matter of fact, on that same survey, great sex was in front of
Was higher than God.
Was higher than God.
Yeah, it was higher than God.
Wow.
It was higher than God. God was number three.
Somebody said
As a matter of
God was
fact,
number three.
God was number three.
Yes,
He was number three on the
Wow.
list. He was number three on that list. I'm gonna have to pull that list back up. Monique says, I don't agree with that. God is number one. We need you, Lord.
You know it's funny.
I think she's talking to me.
Y'all ain't gonna admit it. Y'all ain't gonna admit it.
Not exactly. That
Right. Y'all ain't gonna admit it.
Not gonna admit that.
No.
Yes.
Monique said, let's redo the survey. Monique, I'll do you one better. You was on one of the people on the survey. Not saying that you answered their way, but what I'm saying, from the women we surveyed,
if we be honest,
yeah,
if they would be honest, that's it. Yeah, God is not number one. God is definitely not number one.
But let's do this because we want to get into this. The aftermath. Because I know in counseling, that man comes in there with his wife, and she looking at him like, I can't stand you. You did me wrong, and he's looking like, oh man, I messed up now. What is the fallout that you've seen from that man stepping out? What's the fallout?
The first thing I want to know is, are you mad because you got caught? Or are you mad because the affair is ended? Because, listen, we got to be truthful about what was going on in the affair. Right?
Whoa.
We're giving details.
Why we need all that, man? Listen, it's not about me. I'm speaking for a friend. But I'm simply saying why we
there's constructive questions that I need to ask. What did you get out of the affair that you was not getting at home?
What were you looking for?
Yes. What were you getting? What were you getting out of the affair, the relationship? What were you getting out of that you was not able to get at home? That's going to help me identify what's lacking at the house and what he's going to get. All right. And for that relationship to have a chance, I need to know that information. And that spouse that was cheated on need to know what was you getting out of that particular relationship. Now they're gonna be hurt, but they hurt anyway. Let's just get it all out. So now, depending on the particulars, that wife or that other spouse may be able to accommodate that particular area now that they know there was a deficit.
Wow.
Wait a minute. I remember this girl who used to give her husband oral.
Mhm.
And when they got married, she and he said she's really good. And this is true story though. It's funny, but it's true story. And
we keep it real, right?
And after they got married, she said she didn't want to do that anymore. She said she felt like she was at a relationship with Christ to where she felt like she wasn't supposed to do that anymore, and she didn't want to do it anymore. And so, Pastor Mike, how she gonna bamboozle? First of all, she bamboozled that man and pulled him in, and then once she got him, you can't change. You
old bait and switch.
Because if that's the issue, how can they come to you with that and get that fixed?
Mm.
In a counseling situation, if it got that graphic, I would ask the man, when she was doing that, what were you thinking? Did you feel appreciated? Did you feel your self-worth? How did you feel as a man while she was doing that? Because whatever you was feeling is what that woman took away from him. So if she was doing that to him and he felt like a man and he felt like working and he was content when he went out and he did not lust. But sister, you took that from him.
You took it from him.
You took
it. You give it back. You give it back to him. Brother, you come here. You come here. You get that back to him.
Now, this is the worst thing is, she took it away from him. And then said, God told me to take it.
Because you know what they're doing.
Now he don't want to trust God.
And you wonder why ain't no men in the church. Boy, you wonder why ain't no men in the church. It's a conspiracy.
Listen, and I know y'all hoping that I made that up, but that is a true story.
Yeah, that does happen.
That is true. That happens.
That does happen. Women have been known to do certain things to get him, and as soon as they secure him, is
so they get the bag.
Right. Secure the bag, that's it.
You can't do that because you don't know the level of fulfillment and completion and wholeness that your act did. And now you take that away from him, and now he's like, well, I'm used to that. I want that. Yeah. And in this society, women outside the bed, women outside the house, they ain't got no problem with that in these days.
Sir. What I've heard. Anyway, that's what I've heard. Let me pull up.
Let me get this comment. Monique says some affairs lead to friendships. That's what my friend said in my John voice. Listen, if you get a friend out of your affair, you ain't gonna be with nobody else. So you might as well go make them more than a friend. You might as well make them more than a friend.
I'll put it to you like this. In my experience, when that affair happens, a part of the restoration process is to stop all communications with that person.
Yes. Absolutely.
All the way off.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. So
all the way off.
Left the marriage. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because it's no way that spouse is going to trust you.
Yes.
Right. That person got access to you.
Yes. You're absolutely right.
Right.
Absolutely. Because most of the time that started because you were a sounding board.
Yeah.
He was able to complain to you about what she was or wasn't doing, and that's still going to be there. So there's no way they could be friends after that. There's no way. No way.
What the spouse that was cheated on is going to require, the first thing is that you block all communication with that person. If you don't stop the communication, that spouse is not going to get no healing at all.
One thing I do want to get into, we getting close to the end of the hour. When the man has created children outside of the marriage, what does that do to that man? How does that impact that man? He stepped out, created a child. What is he dealing with at that point?
Well, I have to get scripture with this because the Bible says in the book of Malachi that God says he will draw the heart of the children to the fathers and the heart of the fathers to the children.
Yes.
And those are lowercase f's. Those are talking about biological fathers. All right. So when that man has a child, then it's going to be within his DNA to make sure that child is taken care of. All right. Now you have a lot of
Yeah.
people out here that's behind on child support. That's a whole other case.
Right, right.
But
Yeah.
But that's not to say it's not his DNA though, right?
exactly right. But it's very important that the woman allows that man to have access to those children, and it's very important that that man holds up to his responsibility for you to even maintain and to be blessed. Scripturally, it's in God hates for children to be bastardized. He hates for children to be neglected. He hates it so much that he threatened to curse the earth if it's not rectified. And so God believes in family and structure. God does not want children to not have a father. And so
Right.
if you have a case in which that mother is blocking that father from fathering and providing and leaving an inheritance for those children, God is upset with her, and there's no blessing in it, and there is no peace in that particular situation.
Women don't care about nobody being upset with them.
Yeah.
As long as they have the approval of other women, they stick together like spaghetti when it ain't been rinsed off with cold water.
What
They
an analogy.
They don't care. They don't care because I made some spaghetti with that. But they don't care. Women don't care about that. Because if they did, we wouldn't have so many kids that don't know their daddies because they were part of something they shouldn't have been.
Yeah.
Right. Well, I tell you what, it's against God. It's against Scripture. If there's a woman out there, listen to me, and that father's desires to have a role with his children, you are against the will of God by denying that man from raising and leaving an inheritance. And I'm not talking about monetarily, but his character, his DNA within that child, that is not of God.
Wow. Monique says women care about the Lord being upset for sure. We already established what y'all relationship is with God, so we're gonna
God's number 3 on
number 3.
Yeah.
But I think that's interesting. That's interesting. So let's get into some preventative things. How can it be prevented or addressed? How do we do that?
For infidelity, how to prevent it. First, it's going to start, I think, based off my experience. All a counseling session does is provide a place for communication, because in the counseling session, one spouse is going to communicate what another spouse needs in order to bring prevention. Prevention also is layered and is deep, because it starts with the person. We got a lot of narcissistic people in relationships.
Oh, yeah.
They only care about themselves and what's going on with them. And they're not empathic to their spouse, where they are listening and coming into their world. My rule of thumb is this: if your spouse is talking to you, I want you to listen empathetically enough that you can ask them 3 questions concerning the conversation. So when they talk, answer them back 3 questions. How did it make you feel? Another question in relation to the topic, and another question in relation to the topic. So 3 questions out of a conversation tells that spouse that you are involved, you understand, you are prudent, you are connected to their daily operation, their life, whether it's about their job, shopping, family, whatever. You want to get involved. And through that process, this is what they get: fulfillment. Because that level of emotional fulfillment will help prevent them from talking to somebody else when their spouse is listening to them.
Yes. So you're getting what you need. So no need to go looking elsewhere.
Why do I need to go talk to somebody that's listening to me for a motive when my spouse is genuinely concerned about my daily activity?
Yeah. You know, we talk about.
Okay, go ahead.
No, we talk about commitment And I don't know if people really value or even understand the value of commitment anymore. And I think that's one of the things that's really detrimental, because we'll make a commitment and just not honor it, because it's like, people don't, it's kind of, it's an afterthought.
Committed.
Divorce is on the table. Divorce is on the table. Go ahead, Mike.
Let me say this. Committed people will cheat and still be committed in their own eyes. They're committed. Culturally, back in the South, let's look at it. Those men that cheated, they took care of their homes. They took care of their families. They made sure that woman had what she had in most cases. In most cases, somebody let the secret out. But that woman can't say she was really neglected. And he was committed. Yeah.
Wow.
So I don't put a lot of value on commitment like I probably should.
But
I have just seen some really good people cheat. Really good people cheat. I've seen some really good women, some really good men get caught up in a situation. Say, for instance, you can have a lady, right? This lady has been faithful her entire marriage. And then, but she always did what people wanted her to do. And she never really had a childhood. She never really explored life, and everything was so nice and perfect. And then she meet a thug, and he just against the grain. But he makes
it about them thugs. What is it about them thugs, Mike, that make them women pull their pants all the way down?
Make them feel adventurous. Women don't communicate the sex they really want. They really don't communicate the sex they really want.
That's good.
And so in order for that spouse to give them the sex they really want, then he got to change his mindset to be another person in the bedroom. And so when they meet a stranger and they're aggressive and possessive, and it feels a fetish that they've been smothering the whole time.
Yeah, because don't nobody beat a woman up like somebody that don't belong to. When it ain't yours, oh my God, you finna kill. You are coming out of there sweating with your mouth, and you can't close your mouth, and you're sweating, and it's gonna be a dead person in there because you're gonna try to kill her.
So listen, this is the pattern. This is the pattern in marriages, right? In marriages, everything can be predictable.
Yeah, very much so.
It's just predictable. We set up the time, especially when we get older. It's really predictable. But when in the affairs that I've talked about with people, when you get into the details, if that spouse is willing, the passion that's generated from that affair that marriage can't produce.
So if the marriage can't produce that passion, why should they stay together, Mike? Because she ain't gonna never forget that. If he was pulling at her, slapping her, throwing her on the floor, she ain't gonna forget that. She ain't gonna forget. She is not gonna forget. Look at you the same way no more.
Passion gets overridden by security when it's on the table.
Oh, well, okay then, sir. Okay.
Well, women value security. They value structure. And so even though that particular individual may have gone that route, that's just for a moment. That's just for a time. That's not something that she's willing to invest in or settle down with. That's from my experience.
Yeah.
Okay. Wow. Wow. Final thought.
Listen. I hope y'all caught all of that.
See, we did something different. We wasn't trying to get in here. We were trying to give Pastor Mike the floor so he could bring y'all there. If you didn't get there, it's because you didn't want to go.
Right.
Because he was on it.
Oh, yeah. Dropped a lot of information, a lot of nuggets.
Very much so.
And I really hope y'all was paying attention. Well, we gonna put it out for y'all to listen to whenever y'all want to. We're gonna put out audio, video, everything. Y'all can get a chance to get y'all feel of this, but we need this. We need this. Too many people are are suffering. Too many people are struggling. And, you know, we're going to get into it a lot more, especially when it comes to the next show, which is talking about the kids who were created outside the marriage and how they're impacted by this whole thing. So make sure y'all stay tuned. Final thoughts, Pastor Mike. What you got for them?
Well, first of all, I want to encourage you guys to keep going, keep pressing. I see the progress, and you know, God's going to give you guys, bless you guys with some money to bring in somebody that's going to draw thousands of people. And one broadcast is going to cause people to go back into the archives and look at the progression and look at the topics that you guys has invested in over the years. So I want to say that your labor is not in vain. Wow. These are topics that people will go back and visit from years. This information is generational. And so to those out there that have gone through infidelity, you know, that old marriage is gone.
Yeah.
But you can have a new marriage, and God can heal you, and you can start fresh. And understand that it can be corrosive, that if you don't get that healing, it's just going to leak over into the next relationship. And so my goal was to just give you guys some insight and some different perspectives so you can have some different approaches. Listen to your spouse, ask 3 questions concerning the conversation, really communicate what you want, what you fantasize about. You may feel like your spouse may disrespect you, but trust me, they'll appreciate you. So that's all I have to say.
My final thought is, it's so much easier, guys, trying to figure out what we can do on the back end of our relationships to try to fix infidelity. I just don't think we spend enough time on the front end. It's a lot easier. You know, this been said that it's a lot easier to divorce before you're married than it is after you're married. And man, it's so much easier to sit down and figure out the things that I need to talk about with you, or figure out who you are before we say I do. It's too easy. And I just think we need to take more time to invest in our relationship to figure out exactly who we are and who our partner is. Because if you don't, you're gonna get cheated on. And that's my final thought. Thank y'all.
Listen, our whole heart behind all of this has been just trying to help people heal, because we see the effects of bad marriages, people not knowing how to work things out, all of the things that's involved. And we just want to bring some resolution. We want to bring some insight. We want to bring some clarity to some things, just so people can think in the process of going through what they're going through. The importance of communication, the importance of letting your spouse know what's really going on with you, so that you can stay home and prevent a lot of these things that is really tearing our society apart. We just want to bring help. We want to bring healing. We want to bring clarity to this issue. So we just thank you guys for staying with us throughout this series. Continue to stick with us, and we're just going to make sure that you get some understanding. That's my final thought.
Ooh, boy, I am tired. I feel like I've been in a church service. I want to. So Pastor Mike, let people know how they can contact you, get in touch with you.
Well, I'm on all social media platforms. Well, not all of them, but I am on Instagram. That would be Apostle Michael Horne. Facebook, Apostle Michael Horne. My YouTube channel, Apostle Michael Horne. Our website, Believers. Join me at believers.org. Our church, Believers International Church. On our church Facebook page and my page, you will find a calendar. We alternate services. So we have 2 in-person services a month, as well as 2 virtual services. So we'll be virtual this week coming up, but look at our calendar and you'll find the dates. And my number is in the city, so you can just reach me and contact me at those particular platforms.
All right. Well, thanks, man. You know, it's always a pleasure, my brother.
Yes.
Always great to have one in the chamber that you can call that you know gonna shoot up the whole village. So it's always great, man.
All right. God bless you.
Oh, don't you go nowhere now.
Yeah.
You gotta stay on.
Okay.
No, we definitely appreciate you. We appreciate everybody for tuning in. Don't forget, check out our audio version of our podcast as well. You can check it out on Apple, Google, Spotify, even Amazon as well. You just want the audio version, you can listen to it at your leisure. Make sure you go to one of those platforms, download it. Don't forget to subscribe as well. Subscribe to the audio version as well, and share this out to people.
Absolutely.
You know some people that's been going through this and people that's been dealing with this.
Yeah.
Send the information to them. Let them be enlightened as well. So,
also, before we go, Pastor Mike will be back with us next week as well for our series talking about the effects on the children. So he'll be back with us next week.
Yeah.
Just want to let everybody know about that.
Yeah, so come back.
Yes, come back and
Come back.
get your popcorn because he's going to come in here shooting. I'm telling you.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you guys for watching. We always love and appreciate you. We're going to see you all next week. Yeah, peace out.